there is more change. And this one is certainly lighting up the debates on social media. Is that the barometer for everything, good or bad? No, of course it's not, but definitely gives us something to talk about. And that is the Canadian Premier League announcing another change to their playoff format. Christian Jack joined me last night on Matchday Live before CONCACAF Champions League to go through the new system. We will get Ollie and Jordan to chime in on this, but let's go over the bullet points and what makes this really exciting moving forward for the CPL in their fifth season. The playoffs begin with the addition of a fifth team. It seems like a lot. It's more than half of the league, but as KJ pointed out, a couple of important points to remember here. It's the same percentage as Major League Soccer. This is not revolutionary. It's not groundbreaking. And this is a system that the league wants to see hopefully stay in place as expansion happens. And why they are so big on this is what KJ called the tier system. And as you can see in front of you, that's very clearly what it is. There is every high seed in this playoff format gets the opportunity to host a single elimination match. It begins with the fourth versus the fifth place teams. From there, the winner will go to play at the third place team. Whoever comes out of that match will go on to play the loser of match two. And match two is my personal favorite because you get 1 versus 2 for a ticket to host the CPL final right away. The regular season champion, they get their flowers, they get their CONCACAF Champions League spot booked, they get a trophy that Commissioner Mark Noonan has announced will be handed out to them, not just the banner. And then they will also get that opportunity to play in. So whoever loses that match, they host 3. And from there, we have the match for the North Star Shield. I hope you have all of that. There will be a quiz, gentlemen. But Jordan, you played in the format. You've played in different versions of the CPL playoffs. What do you make of these changes?
I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't love it at first. I didn't. I looked at it and I was
and tell us why. Tell us why.
I'll tell you why. The first reason was I thought the first place team getting, I thought maybe 14, 16 days off felt a bit like a consequence. And I just know for me, like playing, it's nice when you play like once every 7 days or once every 5 days, you're in a rhythm. Like to have a 2-week break to lick your wounds, you might be a bit rusty come finals time. Now talking with my boy KJ, he changed my mind.
Did he straighten you a little bit?
Down. He did, and it was a humbling moment. He didn't really he didn't spank me. He didn't come like he didn't discipline me.
Finger.
But he didn't wag his finger and give me a timeout. But he definitely broke it down for me in terms of, hey, now all these games or the positions that you fill or you fall into have meaning. And I will agree with that schedule. I think, or with that system in place. I think also too, I didn't love in the beginning that 5 teams make playoffs. And then for me, it was just like, well, 4, I know from my past 2 years with York United, it was kind of like a push at the end, like, oh, finish 4th. And maybe you have something to play for. And now 5th, it was like, oh, but if you look at the path being in 5th, it is no way an easy
It's
path.
A gauntlet.
It really is. It's that underdog story. So I think moving forward with this plan, with this format, I'm always looking for the future because I'm thinking if we can keep this for 2-3 years time, then there's 10 teams in the CPL, then that's a beautiful thing. And then that ends up being nullifying all the questions that I had because basically half, if you're in the top half, if you're in the top average, then you're making playoffs. So KJ won me over. This format won me over bit by bit, and now I'm for it.
Okay, so I've known that they're going to go down something like this path for a little while, and we talked about it a lot last season. I was interested to see what the reaction would be last night because I suspected people generally don't like change of this type, particularly when they like the playoffs as they are. The playoffs were great.
They were really good last year.
And to make it not just a different format, but a format that on the surface of it, when you look at that graphic, looks a little convoluted, I suspected that the reaction would not be universally positive, and it wasn't. What I want to say very, very clearly here, and I mean this not as a One Soccer employee who covers the CPL and loves the CPL, I mean this genuinely. I think this is one of the most important and consequential and positive changes that the CPL has ever made to its season structure since its inception. I think it is going to transform the league in a really, really good way. And I think what people are maybe missing a little bit about this is they're thinking about it as a change to the playoffs just on its own. And I don't think that's the point. I think the point is that it's going to change the regular season. And that's what they wanted to do. Playoffs, whatever you do with the playoffs is going to be great. It's knockout football. It's always fun. You could come up with one of the worst formats in the world and it'll probably still be pretty good, right? The playoffs are just naturally exciting, full of tension, full of rivalries. huge stakes in each game. The issue we've had in this league through the first few seasons, and it was prominent last season, is the regular season just hasn't, the average game in the regular season is maybe a better way of putting it, hasn't mattered enough. Like you had coaches coming out last season in the middle of the year saying like, we don't care if we finish first or fourth, like we just want to make the playoffs, right? Like, and it doesn't make much difference, right? Because if you finish fourth, you still get a home and away semifinal. Like the difference between first and fourth just was not that great. So the only real race you had in the league season was for the top four, just to get in. And it was a good race because Valor put pressure on. York came a bit stronger at the end, but that was really it. Now that this system for me completely changes that. So if you finish firstly, you get a trophy, which is big. You get Champions League qualification. That in itself, without touching the playoff format, is going to make a huge difference. But you also get now this home game, a one-off home game for a chance to host the final. Way bigger reward for winning the regular season in terms of playoff implications than you've had before. If you finish second, you're also playing in that game. And if you lose that game, you then get to host another game for a shot at the final. You get a second chance, right? So finishing in the top two, far more consequential than it's ever been before. 3 and 4 still going to get a guaranteed home playoff game each. So I think it adds a lot more to not just finishing in the playoff spots, but finishing as high as possible. Then the fifth place team is the one that's got a lot of people going because they say 5 teams out of 8 is too many to be in the playoffs. It rewards mediocrity, whatever you're going to say. I'd say a couple of things on that. Firstly, as Jordan pointed out, finishing fifth is like an incredibly difficult run to have a chance of winning the title, right? It's not like you're going into the semis like you were in the old format. You have got to beat everyone away from home to finish fifth and win the CPL, win the North Star Shield. So it's incredibly difficult. It's not like a normal playoff spot in that sense. Secondly, we've got a lot of parity in this league. Valor were really close last season. York United, like I said, arguably the form team in the league in the second half of the season. These were not bad sides. These were not sides that are going to, massively bring down the quality if you put them in the playoff picture. I think you can look at the way that the squads are being built this season and expect a lot of parity in the middle of the table again. So I don't really buy the argument that you're going to dilute it too much in that respect. So sorry, I'm going on here for ages, but I just think when you look through the consequences for the regular season in particular, that's the way you need to think about it. Don't worry about the playoffs. The playoffs are going to be great. The regular season is going to be a lot better for these changes. And that is what I think they had to address more than anything this offseason. And I think Mark Noonan has been big on it since he came in as commissioner. And between adding the trophy, adding the Champions League berth, and now these playoff changes, I think it's a totally different league now in terms of what the regular season games will mean.
And left flank, Jordan, you're up.
Sorry.
Quickly. No, that Ali, you covered everything that I couldn't. So I appreciate you for doing that. But yeah, now you play games as a former player. There's so many games, especially toward the end of the season, that if you're out, you're kind of just like, if you were in the top 4, you're kind of just playing. But now you can make that last bit run. I know personally, if you're looking at York United last season, there's 2 York Uniteds, the first 14 games, and then the last 14 where we got more of a team that could do the things that Martin Nash would want to do. So now if you start slow and you're not getting wins, you could really make that push either for a 5th place spot or whatever it is, and then carry on. And it just makes the season more exciting, but also playoffs, because some teams we see it every season. Valor in the bubble in 2021 started amazing and then kind of dipped down. York United last season didn't start the best, but towards the end, after a few signings and some team chemistry. Yeah, but it's a different team. So you're saying you're going into playoffs now, knowing that maybe you get a 5th place spot, but they'll just be better games, because at the end of the season, when it's all on the line, if you make that the top 5 spot, they're going to be interesting games to see.
Well, like Jordan, like last season, right? If you guys had snuck into a 5th spot, it's a real long shot for you to go on and win the title. But you're in 5th. Mo Babouli's playing like the best player in the league. You got Dom, you've got an experienced core of players. Like, you fancy a little run there, don't you?
And no one would want to play us. I guarantee you that. No one would want to play a 5th place team that is just playing on vibes and confidence. No chance. So this is interesting. As I said, Ollie, you won me over. KJ sat me down yesterday with his finger. He won me over. I think it's beautiful for the CPL moving forward.
I will leave this conversation. We've gone a little bit long, but I think it's one that has a lot of people talking and it's warranted. 2 things from me. A lot of this is semantics. If you don't like playoffs, you don't have to like the playoffs because there's still so much importance on the regular season championship. You could be the regular season champions and support that club and say, I don't care about the playoffs because you're essentially winning the same thing. You're getting a trophy, you're getting that ticket to CONCACAF Champions League, and you proved over a large body of work that you were the best team in the league. That's not insignificant. And if you think the playoffs are like a cup, they kind of are. It's just that there's a North Star shield up for grabs at the end of it. It makes it fun. It makes it exciting. And yes, that's what crowns the champion because you put in all the work ahead of time. Just give it a chance. But if you don't like it, you don't have to like it. That's the beauty of it. You really don't. We hope you watch it. I'm sure you'll watch it because those games in the playoffs are going to be so darn exciting. And like Jordan says, when it's 35 degrees outside on an artificial turf pitch in the middle of July and you're playing the team for the third time that season, but maybe they're 2 points behind you, or maybe you're 3 points out of fourth or fifth or whoever, it matters more. And that's what this league needs, is matches that matter more for when the players are sold on and progress in their career. They are ready for that intensity all the time. Good? We're all good?
One more
Well
thing.
said.
I also want to say...
I figured there'd be one more. That's why I asked.
Sorry, I'm nearly done. I also want to add that it's on us as media as well to make sure that we treat the regular season title with the emphasis and the importance it deserves. I think the league will do their bit to bring in a trophy, to bring in proper prize money for that that's hopefully equal or similar to the North Star Shields. It's also about how the media depicts it. No one cares who wins the regular season in the NHL. No one cares in the NBA because we have this culture now where it's all about, winning a championship, how many rings have you got, and so on. We don't have to do that. Like, we can put a lot more emphasis during the regular season, a lot more, in terms of how we praise teams, how we assess teams. Let's talk about the teams that have great regular seasons. I think we've tried to do it over the first few years without a trophy to kind of really cement it. But to me, that regular season title should be seen as a championship, a trophy equivalent to the North Star Shield.
100%. And on that, we will park that conversation for now. But as always, if you're watching this on YouTube or on social media, put in the comments. You can try and change our minds. I don't think you're going to successfully change my mind. I'm all in on this format. But we do like to hear potential pauses for concern from the supporters and how we might be able to try and win you over like KJ had done for Jordan.